Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode podcast to talk about our favorite team and the NFL. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in here in the chat. Definitely do me a huge favor. Smack up the like button here on your way in. Let me know who is here in the chat by letting me know where you're from and what are you doing on this Monday morning. Yes, we are live right now on June 30th. And yes, I'm fully aware we haven't made content for probably 2-3 weeks, but it's the dead heart of the off season, ladies and gentlemen. So this is a time where I usually have a lot of family time. I'm going to be going on vacation a little later on here in July, starting up with obviously celebrating some families' birthdays. But at the end of the day, there's not really much to talk about, but we did get a banger today. We did get some news here for the world of the NFL, not Cardinals related, but division related. So we're going to be talking about that as well. Appreciate you guys for being here up and foremost. We do got some people here in the chat. We got Jameson. What's up, Jameson? What's up? What's up? What's up? We also got Stranger in the chat as well. We got Chef. What's up, Chef? We got Jeffrey in the chat as well. I get it, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, we're in June. This is the last thing people want to do is probably talk about Cardinals football. And I'm a big fan of every single sports team here in Arizona. The Diamondbacks are making me put my head through a freaking wall every single day. We just got swept by the damn Marlins. I know the Suns are probably the window of championship is absolutely closed, but there's some exciting things happening with the Suns. So hopefully for the future, good things for the Suns. But man, oh man, oh man, I understand not a lot happening here with the Arizona Cardinals. But as of yesterday, we are 10 Sundays away 10 Sundays away from the start of the regular season for some Cardinals football. So that means preseason's coming up a lot sooner than that. We got to get through July, which training camp starts at the end of July. Then we got preseason in August. So it's going to get here a lot sooner than y'all think, ladies. And it's going to get here a lot sooner than we think. So let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start the show. Let's go ahead and ring the bell, shall we? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I know I realized I said this earlier. It's breaking news, nothing to do with the Arizona Cardinals, but it has to do within the division. And we got breaking news coming out of the world of the NFL, and it all has to do with Jalen Ramsey, superstar cornerback. And one of the biggest reasons why we're talking about it here, obviously on this channel, is because for the longest time, we have been hearing that the Rams were in play for Jalen Ramsey to go back to their organization and, try to go for another championship under their belt. That is not what's happening because Jalen Ramsey is now finding his way over to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, you heard that correct. The Pittsburgh Steelers is who is now claiming Jalen Ramsey. Now, of course, there were some people out there talking about should the Cardinals go after Jalen Ramsey because obviously the young cornerback group that we currently have. I've been one of those few guys that were actually pretty high on this cornerback group that we have. Now, yes, they're young. The experience isn't all there, but I really want to see what these young guys can do. So I was never really in on Jalen Ramsey per se. And I know a few weeks back, Jair Alexander was one of those guys that the Cardinal fans were also, looking into like, oh, we should probably go that route as well, especially because obviously, Sean Murphy Bunting, that whole era or experiment might be over because he's done for the 2025 season. So I was never really in on Ramsey per se, but there was a lot of Rams fans out there, a lot of Rams fans saying, oh yeah, we're going to be getting Jalen Ramsey back. Everything's going to be looking good because I'm going to be real. I still do think that the LA Rams are going to be the team to beat in the NFC West. So I'm not going to come out here and say, oh, you didn't get Jalen Ramsey, you guys are going to suck. No more Super Bowl window for you. No, that's not the case. They are still the team to beat in the NFC West. Although the Arizona Cardinals have made a lot of great upgrades on the defensive side of the ball, they're still a little worrisome going with the offensive side of the ball. Right now, there's some people a lot higher than other people. To me, I still would like another wide receiver, but I'm okay with Jonathan Gannon if he truly feels like this is going to be the route he wants to take. But yes, going back to what I said earlier, the Rams are the team to beat. But this is the blockbuster trade and what exactly happened. Now, we don't know the exact financials in terms of the contracts that were, situated, right? But this is it in a nutshell, right? You get Adam Schefter reporting. Now you got Ian Rappaport, Tom Pelissero, everybody out there saying that this is going down. So we got to go out there and believe these big time media guys because they don't miss, right? So we get the Steelers get Jalen Ramsey. They also get tight end Jonnu Smith, which is actually a really solid tight end if he could stay healthy. And they also get a 2027 seventh round pick. Now, the Dolphins, they get themselves safety Mika Fitzpatrick, which is the same team that actually drafted Mika Fitzpatrick over to their team. Now he finds his way over to another organization, and now he's coming back. And then they get themselves a fifth round pick in 2027. So this is the way that it actually breaks down. And honestly, at the end of the day, it's not one of those things where, to me, as an Arizona Cardinal fan, I'm not really worried about it because I didn't really want Jalen Ramsey to begin with. But I'm honestly kind of smirking in the inside of my head, or in the inside, yeah, in my head, because there was a lot of Rams convinced that they're getting Jalen Ramsey, and they're not anymore. So if there's any chance I can kind of come out here and poke a little fun at our division rivals not getting the guy that they probably thought that they were going to get, this is the opportunity to do so. So, yeah, Jalen Ramsey now finding his way to another team. That's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Honestly, good luck to Jalen Ramsey. I don't think he's as great as he used to be. Obviously, father time gets the best of all of us, right? That's what happens. That's what happened to Patrick Peterson when he was an all-time great for the Arizona Cardinals. He is now retired as a Cardinal, which I'm honestly really happy about that. But same thing with Jalen Ramsey. He's a really good cornerback to have back there in terms of the veteranness and what he can do, the savviness, the brains in the operation. Being back there in the secondary is a really, really good thing. But I just don't think he's that all pro top five cornerback like he used to be, right? But still a really good player, right? Mika Fitzpatrick is younger, so Dolphins do get that in return, and they get a fifth round pick. So overall, this blockbuster trade that went down, I'm just happy that Jalen Ramsey is not coming to the Rams. I'm going to be real. I'm just happy that Jalen Ramsey is not coming to the Rams. Now, here's another fascinating thing that I just ended up seeing here from Tom Pelissero, because the Dolphins, they're not done. They're not done, right? At least per Tom Pelissero, he ended up coming out with this tweet saying that the Dolphins are now in conversations with multiple teams about acquiring a tight end after sending Jonnu Smith to Pittsburgh, per sources. A wild start to the holiday week could get wilder. So at one point, for a split second, you're probably sitting back and saying, oh man, here we go, right? The Miami Dolphins are going to, you know, tank, right? Or at least they're going through a rebuild. Nah, they got some pretty good assets back with Mika Fitzpatrick, and they're in the market for a potential tight end. Now, here's the big question out there, right? Are the Arizona Cardinals a team that potentially the Miami Dolphins could potentially call? Right now, we got Trey McBride. Trey McBride is arguably one of the best tight ends in the NFL. Now, yes, right now you have a lot of people saying the best right now is George Kittle, Travis Kelce, because of the veteranness and what they actually have already accomplished, which, okay, that's fine. But Trey McBride within the next few years is probably going to be the number one guy that most people are going to be talking about, right? Especially when Travis Kelce hangs him up, George Kittle decides to hang him up. It's going to be Trey McBride, in my opinion. Now, Brock Bowers is definitely up there as well. I know there's a lot of people saying, well, what about Brock Bowers? Definitely a very good young tight end as well. But I do think that Trey McBride, as long as the connection continues to remain the same with Kyler and him, it's going to be Pro Bowl for multiple years, in my opinion. Now, going back to what I said earlier, are the Arizona Cardinals a team that the Miami Dolphins could potentially call for a potential tight end? Now, if you look at the tight end group, we actually have a very underrated tight end group. And I'm going to be real here. Obviously, Trey McBride being your number one guy, there's no way in heck the Arizona Cardinals are trading that mind. That guy is a gem. That guy is the best thing we got on the offensive side of the ball. And I don't think there's really any debate. But the guys behind him, right? Tip Ryman. Now, we've all said this before. Tip Ryman is a very, very good player for the Arizona Cardinals, but he mainly is a blocker. Now, we have seen him make some plays in Illinois. Now, is that going to, translate to the NFL, or are the Arizona Cardinals going to be using him like that? I don't know. I feel like he's got a specific role on this offense, and he's going to continue with that role. Now, there's a player behind Tip Ryman in Elijah Higgins. Elijah Higgins is a really solid tight end. And honestly, I think he would be a lot better in terms of production slash numbers if Trey McBride wasn't here. Elijah Higgins, right? Which Kyler Murray calls Higgy Bear, right? We've heard multiple times him calling him Higgy Bear, right? So in 2024, 20 receptions, 172 yards, 2 touchdowns, averages about 8.6 yards a catch. 24 years old, 6'3, 235. This is really the only player I can see a team potentially calling for. Now, is there another team that's better suited for the Miami Dolphins to call? Of course, right? There could be other teams out there, like let's say, for example, Mark Andrews, right? Because the a resurgence, or not resurgence, but what you've seen from Isaiah Likely, the connection between him and Lamar Jackson is crazy good, right? It's super, super good. But there's a Mark Jackson out there. No, I'm sorry, not Mark Jackson. I apologize. Mark Andrews. Mark Jackson. Mark Andrews is the tight end from Baltimore, is who I meant. Excuse me. I apologize about that. Mark Andrews, right? He's the other guy that's kind of can he stay healthy, right? Can he be a player that's moved on to Miami? We don't know, right? So can the Cardinals be a team that teams are calling for? I mean, I don't think teams out there really know who we have other than us, right? Like the Bird Gang, right? The people that really know the ins and outs of our depth chart. We know what Elijah Higgins can bring, right? And I'm honestly really convinced that this guy can be a 400-yard type of tight end. Like, honestly, I have all the confidence that he can be. Now, I don't think the Cardinals are the very first team to call up if you're looking for a tight end, because most people don't know who Elijah Higgins is. Most people don't really know Tip Ryman, although we drafted him in a third-round pick last year, but was used mainly as a blocker. Obviously, we got Trey McBride. Ain't no way Trey McBride is going to get traded for anything. But Tip Ryman, right? What did he accomplish in 2024? 6 receptions, 37 yards. Not really much, right? Not really much, but that was his rookie year. Let's see what 2025 can hold for Tip Ryman. So I don't know. This is actually pretty fascinating here when Tom Pelissero ended up tweeting this out, saying that they might be in need of a specific tight end, or they're looking for a tight end because of Jonnu Smith ended up going over to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I do like Jonnu Smith, like I mentioned a little earlier. I think he's a really solid tight end. Definitely probably top 10, if not maybe a little outside of top 10, as long as he can stay healthy. But that's a really solid player. Really solid player there. I'm very curious to figure out where the Miami Dolphins are going to go if this report actually comes into fruition. Because keep in mind, right? Like, we can see these tweets come back and forth, but like, you never know what's going to happen until the deal is actually, done, right? You don't know. You don't know. And that's what I'm kind of going back to the original thing that we were talking about a little earlier, right? Like this, right? The Rams thought, right? The Rams thought that they were going to go after and get themselves Jalen Ramsey. Now, like I said before, this is still the team to beat. I'm not going to come out here and act like they're not because they missed out on Jalen Ramsey. No, this is still the team to beat in the NFC West. But yeah, they were planting their flag, saying things like, "Oh man, it'd be so nice to bring him back." Oh, rumors out there that he's going to come back, and there might have been a lot of talks and a lot of speculation. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter until the deal actually gets struck. And as of right now, I'm looking at their cornerback core. I don't think their cornerback core is really good at all. I'm going to be real here. I think their safety core is solid, but their cornerbacks, there could be a lot of improvement there. Now, they got a really good defensive line, which can definitely help their cornerbacks in their secondary, but their cornerbacks, Darius Williams, Akilla Witherspoon, Quentin Lake, I'll take our young cornerback core in a heartbeat. Like, I'll take our young cornerback core in a heartbeat over what the Rams have to deal with not having Ramsey on there. I love the fact that Ramsey is not going to the Rams. I love it. I love it. I love every second of it, because adding Ramsey to the secondary makes them better. Now, are they still a playoff team? Of course they are. Are they still potential Super Bowl caliber team? I mean, as long as you got Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford, and Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, if he can stay healthy, Kyron Williams is another good weapon, and the young defensive studs they got on the defensive line. I mean, yeah, they're going to be a Super Bowl contending team. Jalen Ramsey wasn't going to be one of those guys that were going to sway either yay or nay. Now, they were going to make, if they did get him, it was going to sway a lot more into the yay. So that's one of the main reasons why I'm glad they didn't get him. But yes, if you guys did not know, breaking news dropped in the world of the NFL. Jalen Ramsey is now finding his way to a new home. It is not the Rams, which a lot of people speculated, including myself. I'm not going to lie to you. I also speculated as well because there was a lot of rumors out there. But the Steelers are now getting Jalen Ramsey. And this is the exact stuff, or this is the whole compensation that was kind of going back and forth, right? We got Steelers get Jalen, Jonnu Smith, and a 7th-round pick in 2027. Dolphins get Mika Fitzpatrick, which was the team that originally drafted him, and a 5th-rounder in 2027. And the report that came out here from Tom Pelissero, they're still looking for a tight end, right? They're fielding a lot of calls. They're looking for a tight end. So let's see exactly what happens there. But I want to go ahead and make sure we talk about, obviously, Arizona Cardinal news, right? Let's talk about Arizona Cardinal stuff, right? Actually, not even news. Let's talk about Arizona Cardinal things because this is an Arizona Cardinal channel. We haven't been live. We haven't been putting out content for weeks, for weeks on this channel because there's not really much to talk about. So let's segue. Actually, let's do this first. Let's read some comments about Jalen Ramsey, and then we'll move on to the whole expectations for the Arizona Cardinals in 2025, right? Let's do that. We got a few people here in the chat. We got Robert says, I think the Cards will be one dangerous team for the next few years. Hell, maybe even longer. Love to see it. Love to see it. Let's take a look here. V-Man in the chat. Hey, Mike, I'm in the doghouse somewhere in Chandler. Yikes. Still looking forward to my Cardinals kicks of this. Woo. All right. Well, I hope you get out soon, my guy. Hope you get out soon. Appreciate you for tuning in. Jameson in the chat. Wouldn't say superstar anymore, but after what Marv did to him, fair, right? So, like I said, right? The name of Jalen Ramsey is a superstar. He's not the same guy. Let's be real. He's not the same guy he used to be. So, for the most part, all I can say right now is I can snicker, right? I can snicker and a little laugh saying, Rams didn't get him. But other than that, they're still the team to beat in the NFC West, at least in my opinion. Let's move on over to what we're all here to talk about. Let's talk about expectations for the 2025 season for the Arizona Cardinals. And while we do this and while we segue into this new topic, let me know what your guys' thoughts overall, ladies and gentlemen. What are your overall thoughts about the Arizona Cardinals in 2025? What is your expectations? What do you want the Arizona Cardinals to accomplish in 2025? Let me know here in the chat. Now, I'll give you my spiel, and it hasn't changed. From the moment that free agency started, from the moments that the draft started here for the Arizona Cardinals, it hasn't changed at all, one bit. Expectations for me as an Arizona Cardinal fan going into year 3 of Jonathan Gannon, Drew Petzing, Nick Ratliss, and what people are calling it 2.5 years of Kyler Murray under this Drew Petzing, regime, and just the regime in general. Next step for the Arizona Cardinals is going to be playoffs. It's playoffs. Playoffs. It is. And yes, I wish I had that soundbite that says playoffs. You're talking about play? I wish I had that soundbite. I don't have it right now. I'm going to get it uploaded. But that's supposed to be expectations. And here's the thing. I'm seeing a lot of national media. I'm seeing a lot of people out there now starting to kind of focus and saying things like, okay, this is a big year for Kyler. Well, we've been talking about that for years now. And I'm glad everybody's now starting to kind of come back onto the thought that we're looking at you. We're looking at you now. All eyes are on you now. We're going into year 7. Now, yes, it's not a full year 7 because obviously injuries ended up happening in multiple different years. But this is a massive year for Kyler. This is one of the best defenses I've seen for Kyler Murray under the Kyler Murray era. This is one of the best defenses I've seen. Primarily, that defensive line is stacked. Right? If you're looking for a defensive line that's going to get to the quarterback, as long as they can stay healthy, this is going to be a really, really good defensive line. Calais Campbell, Dalvin Tomlinson, bringing in Josh Sweat, right? B.J. Ojulari hopefully can stay healthy and come to his own. Zaven Collins, right? Just to name a few. The 2 guys we got a couple years ago, Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones, mainly depth guys, right? Darius Robinson now looks like Hulk, right? More like Hulk than he ever did. And then you bring in Walter Nolan as with your 16th overall pick, right? So we got a really, really good defensive line. Middle of the line, I like Mac Wilson Sr. Love the physicality, the Swiss Army knife guy that we can use. I love him, but I just don't know what Keem Davis Gaither's going to do. I know he's going to get the nod more than anything. Unless Cody Simon absolutely is crazy good in training camp, I think it's going to be a Keem Davis Gaither in the start of the season, right? And then you got the young guys and the two solid veterans in the back, right? With JT and Buddha. So this is one of the best defenses. It is one of the best defenses. Offensively, we mentioned this a little earlier in the stream. I would prefer the Arizona Cardinals go one more weapon on the outside for Kyler in this quarterback room, right? Primarily, maybe getting somebody like Keenan, Amari Cooper, right? Something like that. I originally wanted Elijah Moore, but the Bills ended up getting him several months back, or maybe, yeah, I guess several months back now. But that's who I originally wanted. But I would take a veteran like Keenan. I would take a veteran like, Amari. But I mean, right now, what it seems like is happening with this Arizona Cardinals organization, or at least obviously with the lack of moves, I think they're confident. I think they're confident in the wide receiving core right now and what Kyler has to work with. Now, is it one of those things because we have Trey McBride? Maybe. Maybe. Most teams in the NFL don't have a Trey McBride, right? You could probably name 5 or 6 teams in the NFL that have a really solid tight end, right? Kelsey, George Kittle, Brock Bowers, which hopefully can continue his success, right? Kyle Pitts did not really come out to be as good as everybody thought he was going to be. But like, then you throw Trey McBride in there, right? Like, there might be another one that I'm missing here and there, but those are the main tight ends that people are talking about. Now, that might be one of the main reasons why the Arizona Cardinals don't go after another wide receiver. Now, yes, we are a run-heavy team. We do run the heavier packages, right, with more tight ends. We got more beef up there to kind of obviously block. We don't really have the spread them out 3 wide receivers on the field a lot of the time, like, let's say, for example, Cliff Kingsbury did. But I would still like a little bit more of a safety blanket. But like I said, Kyler Murray and this Arizona Cardinals organization feel like they got enough weapons, right? So Marvin, stud. I'm really excited about 2025. I think it's going to be a fantastic. It's going to have a crazy jump. Excited about that. I do like Michael Wilson. And a lot of times people think that because I want to bring in another guy, people think I don't like Michael Wilson. That's not the case. I like Michael Wilson. I think Michael Wilson's a really solid player for the Arizona Cardinals. The big thing is that what happens if something happens to one of our wide receivers, right? Like our top 3 guys right now, right? Our top 3 guys, Marvin, Michael, and Dortch, right? Those are our top 3 guys. What if something happens, right? Now, this might be one of those things because in my head, that's how I always think. I always think about the future, right? What happens if this happens? So after them, we don't really have a lot of guys I feel confident with. Now, at one point when we originally signed Zay Jones, I was actually pretty excited about it. Like, I'm going to be, I was pretty excited about when the Cardinals ended up bringing in Zay Jones. But after that, like after what we've seen, after his um, suspension, he didn't really do very much. Simi Fehoko, I mean, he's a guy that kind of bounces around. Maybe just looking for an opportunity, potentially. Andre Bocelli, a guy that kind of floats around the practice squad for the Cardinals. Tyjon Palmer, a late round pick a couple years back. Tristan Jackson, Bryson Green. I mean, Quez Watkins. I mean, Xavier Weaver is the one I'm really excited about. Like, I really would love to see Xavier Weaver get the nod over Greg Dortch, or at least get a fair competition. I think Greg Dortch is going to beat out Xavier Weaver in the beginning of the season. That's true. But I would like to see Xavier Weaver be a little bit more implemented in the slot. I feel like that would be really good to have a bigger target, run in the middle of the field, right? 6'1", over 5'8", right? 5'8", 5'9", however tall Greg Dortch is, right? So I would like to see a little bit more Xavier Weaver personally, but I don't know. There's not a lot of confidence. Like, I would like to bring in another guy. So I like Michael Wilson. I really do. It's just that would make me a little bit more excited. And of course, you got Trey. So it might be one of those things that the Cardinals don't want to go after a veteran because A, they believe in the guys they got, and then B, you got a weapon like Trey McBride, which a lot of teams don't really have one of those guys, right? So it's playoffs. It's playoffs. I'm sorry to say it, right? The past couple years, we've done a very good job with trying to pick apart what the Cardinals have done in the games that they should have won, but now it's time for expectations. Expectations for 2025 is playoffs, right? And of course, I want to win a playoff game. Big stigma around Kyler Murray is the fact that he still hasn't won a playoff game, and we're going to his year 7, right? Now, all the things that you hear, because I'm not sure if you noticed this or you knew this, but Buda Baker was on an interview with Mina Kimes. Mina Kimes from ESPN. Really good interview. Really good interview. But every chance a player that has an interview, whenever asked about the Kyler Murray topic, they back him, man. They back Kyler Murray 110%. And of course, I love Buda Baker, so I like to listen. I like to kind of hear his thoughts. But at the end of the day, this is the time for put up and shut up. This is the time for put up and shut up here. There's no other time. Right here is the opportunity for the Arizona Cardinals to take the big leap of potentially being a division winner or at least contending for a division spot, right? The Cardinals last year with the very, very bad defense, were 6-4 at one point. Now, of course, the dreaded bye week ended up happening. Of course, the second half of the season ended up happening, and the Cardinals finished off 2-5 in the second half. Not good, right? Not good. We can't see that this year. We can't. Now, the schedule this year in 2025 favors the Cardinals to be very good in the beginning of the season and potentially struggle in the back half. But if you want to win playoff games, November and December football is those playoff games, right? And you're going to be tested. The Cardinals are absolutely going to be tested in the second half of the season. You got the Rams twice. You got the Bucks. You got the Bengals. You got Atlanta, which kind of is a wild card. We don't know exactly what they're going to look like. The Texans is another one as well. That's in the back part of the season. The Cardinals can stack up a lot of wins in the beginning of the season, but now it's time to win those games in the end. We, as an organization, will go as far as Kyler Murray is going to take us. That's it. We're going to go as far as Kyler Murray is going to take us. Now, we need him to stay healthy, and we need him to play at an all-time caliber MVP type of Kyler Murray for 17 games. Now, I'm confident and I'm happy that we ended up bringing Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett is arguably one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL right now, and the Cardinals got him on their roster. We don't know what's going to happen with Kyler, right? We heard Kyler Murray come out and says he wants to run more. I love it. What makes Kyler Murray dynamic is him using his legs, right? It's him being able to run out of the pocket and extend plays. That's great. But then you also have a level of, that can cause injury, right? There can be a level of, oh man, I'm a little worried about that, but I'm also excited about it at the same time, right? So if he does want to use his legs more and he wants to be more of a playmaker, come out of the pocket a little bit more, cool, I'm for it. But there might be more of a risk of him getting hurt. He was healthy. This is one of the first times I've seen Kyler Murray healthy throughout the entirety of a season. Can he continue that in the Drew Petzing's offense, which right now favors a really, really heavy run attack with James Conner? So we, as a fan base, will go as far as Kyler Murray will take us. We need him to be MVP. We need him to play like an MVP for all 17 games, start off hot, and end off hot. And yet we haven't seen that. This could be the year. We got the best defense we had in a very, very long time. Offensively, we could use some weapons here, a little weapon here and there. But if Monty believes in it and JG believes in it, then okay. But here we go. This is it. No more excuses. No more excuses. I'm already seeing people out there that are big Kyler Murray fans, and already talking about the draft if things don't work out well for the Cardinals. And what I mean by that is I'm seeing people out there that were big fans of Kyler when we drafted him, and now starting to talk about if things go sideways. And let's be real, right? We always got to have that conversation. We're Cardinal fans. We always got to have that conversation. You never know what's going to happen. We can have expectations, and we can flounder like the D-backs are doing. We can flounder like the Suns did this last year as well. You never know. Where's Arizona sports? I feel like we're cursed. We might be. But People are already talking about potential quarterbacks in the 2026 NFL draft, which is said to be a pretty darn good quarterback class. Now, of course, I'm not going to think that way right now. My mindset is, okay, Kyler, let's time for you to prove it. This is it right here. Prove it. This is the chance and the opportunity and the time for you to come out and prove why at one point people were talking about you in the MVP race. Let's not forget in 2024, people were talking about him in the MVP race. In the first half of the season, people were talking about Kyler Murray in the MVP race. The, the problem happens is the bye week. The second half of the season exists. If there was only 8 games in a regular season, the Cardinals would probably be a Super Bowl champion by now. If there was 8 games. Unfortunately, there's not. There's 17 games. So you got to be good throughout the entirety of the 17-game schedule. And so far, we haven't been able to see that under the Kyler Murray era. Now, it's not all his fault. Nope, not at all. Not all his fault. There was a carousel of a lot of different offensive linemen, which I'm one of those guys that I still do feel like the Arizona Cardinals offensive line was not as bad as most people want to paint them to be. I think they were actually pretty solid. I know we had a little bit of kind of carousel going on with the right tackle position, with obviously Jonah not being able to stay healthy. He came back. Beachum did pretty solid, but when Jonah came back, it didn't feel like it was really too great. Will Hernandez was hurt throughout a good majority of that season, so that right side was kind of concerning. And it's still a little concerning now because of depth more than anything, but I still do think that if they can stay healthy, there's a very solid offensive line. I'm not saying top 5. I'm not even saying top 10, but I do think that this is a really solid offensive line. So right now, we are going to go as far as Kyler Murray can take us. Is that playoffs? We're all hoping for. We're all hoping for. That's what we're excited about. That's what I would love to see. I would love to see another playoff run. It's been forever since we had a playoff run. And I'm not even sure if I consider that wild card when we got back ended into the playoffs, a playoff run. I guess we did, right? We made a playoff run and we got back ended into the playoffs. But I miss the days of 2015 when we were actually favored in. And when the last time we actually won the division was in 2015, that was over 9 years ago, 8 years ago, coming close to 10 years now that the Arizona Cardinals have not been a division winner. Now time for expectations to come out here and say, okay, now time to prove it. Now time to prove it. Let's take a few comments here in the chat. We got G2 GTO Greg. What's up, Greg? He says, we have a top 5 defense. How many Kyler 3 and outs can they overcome? Brissett will do well before this. Brissett will do well before the year is out. So you're saying Brissett will be playing, is what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? I mean, Brissett has a good relationship with Petzing, right? They know of each other. So I don't know per se if we are going to have one of those things where people are going to have conversations saying to themselves, oh, yeah, well, Brissett should be. Sorry, I'm not sure if we're ever going to get there, right? It's Kyler Murray's team right now, and I think we all know that. But we do got a solid quarterback behind Kyler and Brissett. I'm confident he can win some games. Jakai, what's up, man? He says, Zay is a vet for the locker room that's played big time before. Maybe not big time games, but still. Zay Jones? Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I think he is here for that veteran presence. It's just, I would like to bring in somebody that actually brings in veteran presence, but also production, right? Now, it's not really Zay Jones's fault. The fact that the playing time and the passing attack wasn't as great last year, I'll give him that. But we'll see. I think right now, number 1, number 2, number 3 is Marv, Michael, and Dortch, right? Those are number 1, 2, and 3. So he might not even get an opportunity. We'll see. We'll see. Lorenzo in the chat. What's up, Lorenzo? 30 to 40% is both Kyler and Drew's fault each. The rest is the players and opposing players. If K1 and Drew cleans up, the 3 and outs should not be bad. I hope so. I mean, here's the thing. As long as we can address the elephant in the room, Everybody knows and everybody points the finger at Drew Petzing, but I love the fact that Lorenzo has come out and says it's all, man. It's everybody. And I've been saying this from the beginning of the season, right? It's hard for me to continue to protect Kyler Murray when I'm constantly seeing the same things from his rookie year, second year to now, which was his 6th year, and now going into his 7th year. I hope all those things get cleaned up, but we're still struggling with Kyler Murray not throwing the ball away, or when he runs out of the pocket and doesn't have anybody, he literally runs out of the end or runs out of bounds instead of throwing the ball away. Like, those are mistakes that we've seen in his rookie year that we're like, okay, like, that's fine. This is your rookie year, but I hope you learn. It's like almost like Kyler Murray doesn't understand where the sticks are. Like, don't run out of bounds. I get there's a big men coming after you and they want to take your head off. I understand that. But you got to throw that ball away. You can't lose a yard or two and be behind the chains when you're going to second down and to third down and make it even harder. So those are the same mistakes that we're seeing. And of course, all the interceptions that ended up happening in the second half of the season, not all fully Kyler Murray's fault, but the play, man. It almost kind of seems like the level of play just decreases badly. But yeah, I agree. I think this is also another big year for Petzing. Is another big year for Petzing. So if this offense flounders and doesn't do very well this year, I can definitely very well see some changes in the offensive coordinator position for sure. But now people are starting to kind of perk their ears saying, "Oh, Kyler Murray's going to his 7th year." And when you're an organization and a team like the Cardinals, you don't really think about it, especially when you're in national media. They don't really talk about the Cardinals because why? Why talk about a team that doesn't really have much success, right? So a lot of times Kyler Murray flies under the radar, right? You see numbers, you see QBR, right? QBR was a big thing for a lot of Kyler Murray believers out there. And I'm not even talking about the people that want to believe that the quarterback's going to be good. No, I'm talking about the guys that are like fully bought in that Kyler Murray can't do no wrong. Those guys, right? There's very specific type of group that you got to question yourself. Are you a Kyler Murray fan or you're a Cardinal fan, right? Those type of guys, because it's one of those things that you got to acknowledge the elephant in the room. Yeah, I agree with you. Drew Petzing is a problem, but you also got to see the other side of the coin too. There's a lot of mistakes happening on the offensive side of the ball. And I hope that gets fixed. I really do. I hope that gets fixed. Robert in the chat says, next draft, Cards need to work on the offensive line now. Well, right now, the offensive line for the Arizona Cardinals, obviously Paris Johnson Jr., you drafted him with the 6th overall pick, I believe, if I can remember correctly, in 6th overall pick in 2023. You got Evan Brown, which is a bridge guy. Froholt, which I'm not sure if you guys saw that video surfacing with him. I'm not even sure if you call it wrestling, but like, I guess wrestling a UFC guy. Froholt is legit. Like, he's very underrated in the NFL. He's a very legit center for the Cardinals. Isaiah Adams, if he can be good, especially if you're a 3rd round pick, if you can actually blossom into that right guard of the future, that would be good. But there is 2 unknowns: left guard and right tackle with Jonah, right? So, I mean, I agree. I agree that offensive line can definitely very well use some sort of young, high draft pick. But if the Cardinals are in the top 10 this next year, if the Cardinals are in the top 10 in the 2026 NFL draft, do you really think the Arizona Cardinals are going to go offensive lineman? Do you really think the Arizona Cardinals are going to go offensive lineman if the Cardinals are on the top 10 in the 2026 NFL draft? I don't think they're going to be. I'm just asking. Do you think that that's going to be the case? I think that might be one of the positions the Cardinals aren't even going to look at if they're in the top 10 in the NFL draft in 2026. Now, of course, let's be positive. Let's think positivity. And let's hope that the Arizona Cardinals can be good, be great, because it's all laid out in front of them. The 49ers lost a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball. They lost a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball. They just paid their franchise quarterback and Brock Purdy a handsome amount of money, a good load amount of money. They paid him. So that means that money can't be allocated anywhere else. They still got weapons, of course, but they're an aging team. They lost a lot of defensive pieces. They're an aging team. Can they stay healthy? Then you got the Seahawks. The Seahawks should have been dead last year. Why the heck they won, 9, 10 games last year and finished second in the division is beyond me. But they're still always going to be a wild card. But I know I gave a lot of flack to Geno Smith, but I do trust Geno more than I do Sam Darnold. Like, I'm going to be real. I do trust Geno a lot more than I do Sam Darnold. Let's see what Sam Darnold can do under this Mike McDonald, regime. We don't know. So this is an opportunity for the Arizona Cardinals to come out here and at least push for the NFC West division. Now, I'm not expecting it. I'm not expecting it personally as a Cardinal fan. I'm not expecting the Cardinals to win the division, but I am expecting the Cardinals to have a wild card berth. That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting Kyler Murray to take that next step, continue to play at an MVP level like you did in the beginning of the season to the end of the season, and finish off strong for the Arizona Cardinal fans that are just longing for a darn playoff spot. It's been a while. We got Jimbo in the chat saying, Lorenzo, you can't blame Petzing for Kyler Murray's shortcomings, not throwing the ball down the field. Have you watched a single game? I don't think Lorenzo's doing that, personally. I think Lorenzo's actually throwing out here that the blame goes both ways, right? Because here's the thing, right? With Kyler Murray's, like you're calling them, quote unquote, shortcomings, right? That there is some things that Kyler Murray unfortunately doesn't see, like the play that I remember during the Bills game, right? Where you see Marvin Harrison Jr. wave his hands up, like, let's go back into the time machine a little bit here, right? Where that very first game in the season where people could have said the Cardinals could have won that game versus the Bills, right? And you see Marvin Harrison Jr. completely open, nobody there, right? And if Kyler Murray was looking his way or looking that, we probably could have won, right? Now, at that time, it didn't feel like Kyler Murray's first reaction or first instinct was saying, where is my number one wide receiver? The connection wasn't there. He wasn't even looking that direction. Like, he was getting pressured as well. So there was a lot of things that were kind of stacking up on Kyler, right? But another big knock that I'm noticing is that the players that are up the middle of the field, whether it's a drag route, whether it's a slant route, whether it's a quick in, but it's at the first down, sometimes it's hard for Kyler Murray to see that route, whether it's because the guys in the offensive line are massive, whether it's the defensive line causing interior pressure and putting their hands up, which is obviously causing the vision of Kyler Murray to be not there. But there is a big, big opportunity for this Arizona Cardinal offense to be better than they were last year. And that is throwing the ball in the middle of the field, whether it's the drag routes, the slant routes, the quick in routes at the first down mark. So there's shortcomings for Kyler, for sure. Andrew Petzing. So big year, massive year for both those two guys. I want to see them both succeed. I want to be talking about, oh man, Drew Petzing's now going to be looking for a potential head coaching job next year. That's what I'm hoping for as a Cardinal fan, because good for Petzing, but also doesn't mean we're going to bring in another scheme, right? And when success happens, that means usually success for the team as well. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Robert in the chat says, I was talking about building offensive line. Fair. Okay. So you're talking about not the first round per se, but you're saying just in general, the Cardinals should be focusing on the first. That's fair. That's fair. Second round, third round. Yeah. I mean, when you got the national media talking about it, you know that there's going to be something. Like, I don't think the Cardinals are going to be in the top 10 in 2026 in terms of the draft. I don't think the Cardinals are going to be there, right? I don't think they are. But I also didn't think the Cardinals are going to go 2-5 after the bye week. So it's one of those things where we'll have to kind of wait and see, right? We'll have to kind of wait and see how this all shakes out. But I'm excited. I'm excited about 2025. I really am. I think Kyler Murray knows what's in front of him, right? I think he knows what he has to do. Drew Petzing knows that this is a big year for him. The wide receiving core, I think, was it Michael Wilson that says he's confident who they have? Cool. All right. I'm cool with it. Marv, hopefully becoming that number one wide receiver. People are talking about in the NFL being that dog that we all drafted him, that we drafted him to be, that the 4th overall pick. Marv, Michael Wilson, Dortch, Trey McBride. All right, let's get going. Not to mention James Conner and all the glowing remarks we've been hearing about Trey Benson. All the glowing remarks we've been hearing about Trey Benson. If Trey Benson could stay healthy, potentially running back of the future for the Cardinals. We'll just have to wait and see how it all unfolds at the end of the day. So, ladies and gentlemen, I understand we don't go live very often during these times in June. It's not really much to talk about. Not really much to talk about right now. But for all you channel members out there, we did get a request for you guys to get specific badges. That has now been in play now. Just FYI, new badges are putting out there, and you can use emojis and all that different stuff. We're going to try to get a lot better this year, come around with obviously providing you guys the things that be a little bit more interactive here on these live streams, which content galore content galore is going to be coming out of your ears in 2025. If the expectations continue to come into fruition for the Arizona Cardinals in 2025, good things can happen as long as we can stay healthy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be closing up shop right here. Today, we talked about, obviously, Jalen Ramsey going to the Steelers. Haha, Rams. And we also talked about expectations for the 2025 Arizona Cardinals. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me know here in the chat if you're watching this on a playback. Let me know what your expectations are for the Arizona Cardinals here in the comments below. For all the people that are here on the live stream, thank you so very much for showing up. Smack up the like button on your way out and subscribe. We are on the road to 17K. Cannot do it without you guys. We are going to have content coming out of your ears when it comes down to the 2025 season, covering up the preseason as well as going into the regular season. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this going. Have a great rest of your day. You guys are all absolutely amazing. Have a great rest of your Monday. And we'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Cardinals.